Include diagrams. Use conceptual frameworks or models where appropriate. Using diagrams in Chapter 2 of thesis writing. Conceptual frameworks and models. Chapter 2 of a thesis, also known as the Review of Related Literature, R&RL, plays a crucial role in establishing the theoretical foundation of a study. One of the most effective ways to enhance clarity, illustrate relationships, and support the discussion is by incorporating diagrams, conceptual frameworks, and models. These visual elements help synthesize complex ideas, making them more accessible to readers while reinforcing key arguments. This section explores the importance of using diagrams, different types of visual representations, best practices for their inclusion, and common mistakes to avoid in thesis writing. Why use diagrams in Chapter 2? Diagrams are not just aesthetic additions. They serve functional purposes in academic writing. Clarity and simplicity helps explain complex theories, models, and relationships in a visually engaging manner. Better understanding allows readers to grasp key concepts quickly without reading lengthy explanations. Logical organization structures the literature review by visually linking different studies and theoretical perspectives. Supports conceptual frameworks, demonstrates how variables in a study interact, providing a strong research foundation. Enhances retention. Visuals make information easier to remember compared to plain text. Incorporating well-designed diagrams strengthens the discussion, ensuring that readers can follow the research logic seamlessly. Types of diagrams used in Chapter 2. Different types of diagrams serve different purposes, depending on the study's focus and theoretical foundation. Below are some of the most commonly used visual representations. A. Conceptual framework. Conceptual framework presents the relationship between variables in a study. It visually outlines how the independent and dependent variables interact and highlights possible moderating or mediating factors. Example: if a study explores the effect of leadership styles on employee productivity, the conceptual framework may display leadership as the independent variable, productivity as the dependent variable, and factors like motivation or job satisfaction as mediating variables. Sample conceptual framework. Leadership styles. Motivation. Employee productivity. This flowchart clearly shows how leadership influences motivation, which in turn affects productivity. B. Theoretical model. A theoretical model explains the foundation of the study based on established theories. It connects various theoretical perspectives, illustrating their relevance to the research problem. Example: a study on student learning outcomes might use Bloom's taxonomy to categorize different levels of learning, represented in a hierarchical pyramid diagram. Sample, theoretical model, create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand. Remember, this model provides a structured way to classify cognitive skills related to education. C. Process. Flowchart. A process flowchart visually represents sequences, steps, or cycles in a study. It is particularly useful in research involving systems, interventions, or experimental procedures. Example: in a study on customer decision-making, a flowchart can illustrate the step-by-step process consumers go through before making a purchase. Sample: process flowchart. Awareness, interest. Decision, action. This simple diagram explains the buying process based on marketing theories. D. Venn diagram. Venn diagram compares and contrasts different studies, concepts, or theories. It helps in identifying commonalities and distinctions between different research perspectives. Example: comparing two leadership styles, transformational versus transactional, in terms of effectiveness in different environments. Sample Venn diagram. Transformational, transactional, innovation, task-oriented, motivation, and performance. The overlapping section shows shared characteristics, while the outer areas highlight differences. Best practices for using. Diagrams to maximize the effectiveness of diagrams in Chapter 2. Follow these best practices. Keep it simple. Avoid overly complicated visuals. The diagram should simplify, not confuse. Ensure relevance. Only include diagrams that directly contribute to the discussion. Label clearly. Use titles, legends, and captions to explain the diagram. Maintain consistency. If multiple diagrams are used, maintain a uniform style. Cite sources properly. If the diagram is adapted from another study, provide appropriate citation. 4. How to integrate diagrams in the literature review. To effectively integrate diagrams into Chapter 2, follow this approach. Step 1. Identify the need for a diagram. Determine if a concept is too complex to explain solely through text. Consider if a visual representation will clarify relationships or theories. Step 2. Select the right type of diagram. Choose a conceptual framework for variable relationships. Use a theoretical model for theoretical foundations. Apply a flowchart for step-by-step processes. Utilize a Venn diagram for comparisons. Step 3. Create a clear and professional diagram. Use software like MS Word, Canva, SmartDraw, or LucidChart to create professional-looking visuals. Ensure high resolution and readable font. Sizes. Step 4. Place the diagram. Strategically insert diagrams close to relevant discussions in the literature review. Add a caption, e.g., Figure 1, Conceptual Framework of the study, for reference. Step 5. Explain the diagram thoroughly. Provide a detailed explanation of what the diagram represents. Highlight its relevance to the research objectives. Common mistakes to avoid. Using too many diagrams. Overloading. Chapter 2. With visuals can be distracting. Use only where necessary. Lack of explanation. A diagram without context is meaningless. Always interpret its meaning. Inconsistent formatting. Maintain uniform font sizes, colors, and styles for a professional look. Unclear labels. Every diagram must have clear labels to avoid confusion. Ignoring citation rules. If a diagram is adapted from another source, it must be properly credited. Conclusion. Enhancing literature review with diagrams, including conceptual frameworks, theoretical models, process flowcharts, and comparison. Diagrams in Chapter 2 strengthens the literature review. These visual tools improve clarity, highlight key relationships, and enhance readability, making the research more engaging and comprehensive. By selecting appropriate diagrams, ensuring clarity and proper labeling, providing detailed explanations, researchers can effectively communicate ideas while maintaining a structured and visually appealing literature review. If you find this content helpful, subscribe to stay updated on the next tips for writing Chapter 2. Feel free to comment below with topics you'd like us to cover in future content. Thank you.